All right, Algebra 1. Welcome back, guys. We are in section 4 again, but now part 2, okay? And I'm sure as I've discussed in class, part 2, you got to focus, okay? You got to copy down all these notes. You have to take the time to do this, all right? So we are continuing with our division of polynomials, but now it's going to look a lot more like long division. Okay, so you guys remember doing long division back in elementary school? Well, we're going to be doing long division, except it's with polynomials. All right, so stay with me. Watch the video very, very closely. As I said, copy down all these notes. And here's what we're looking at as far as notes go. All right, this isn't really something you have to copy, but you got to follow everything. All right. There are very specific steps to follow to do these types of problems, and you got to follow them very closely. All right. So now comes the copy it down stuff. Okay. So the polynomial goes inside. And when I say goes inside, you remember doing long division where you had the box, you had a number here, and you had a number here. So inside means it's going underneath the box. If I say outside, that means it's going right there. Okay, so the polynomial, that's the bigger expression, that's going to go inside. Okay, the binomial, the smaller expression, goes on the outside. Okay, so when you're setting it up, binomial goes here, bigger polynomial goes inside here. All right, now there are 4 important steps, and these are those 4 steps. So all this right here needs to be copied down, okay? Copy it down, pause the video if you need to, that way you can follow along with me as I'm doing the example problems. You're going to have those notes right there with you. Okay, you got to take the time to do this. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. All right, now I've highlighted a couple example problems that have already been worked out. So what I'd like you to do is go ahead and copy down the original, copy down everything right around in here. Okay, those are all the steps. Okay, so what this is going to give you is it's going to give you pre-done, worked out examples that can already go into your notes. So again, you're copying down the original, and then everything right in here, you're copying down the work and all the steps that they take. So that's for this example problem. Then we'll move over to here. And again, I want you to copy down the original. So that's this right here. And then copy down all the work done. Okay, so again, this is going to give you pre-worked out example problems. We will be working out 3 of our own example problems, but this just gives you more. That way, everything starts to hopefully sink in a little bit by the end of the notes. And of course, we will be doing more problems in the classroom. And if you have questions, you have to ask those questions, all right? And again, I know I've said it, copy down notes. You can't just show up to class with nothing, no notes, and expect for this stuff to just happen perfectly. It does not work that way. Okay. So there again, copy down this, copy down all the work, and you probably should go ahead and at that last step, copy down all this right here, because that's just, again, the original. And then here's your answer right there. Okay. Okay, let's jump into some example problems and let's work this. Actually, before that, we got a little bit right here. Before the example problems start, there's a couple important to remember notes. All right, so anything that is highlighted on this page, that's going to be anything highlighted, okay, you need to copy down. All right, so if I were you, I would just go ahead and copy all this info right here. All right, again, I know you're thinking, give me a break. This is too much to copy down, but this is what it takes to understand this section. All right, so important thing to remember, you have to arrange your polynomial in descending order as well as your binomial in descending order. That means biggest exponent is always up front and you go down perfectly in descending order. You've been doing that all the way up to this point. That's how all of your answers have been written. Stick to that even from the get-go. If they give you a problem where it's not written in perfect descending order, you have to write that, rewrite it in descending order. Then the next thing important to remember, you must have every term represented. So what do I mean by that? Let's zoom in and see. If this is what they're giving you for the polynomial, you'll notice you're missing something. Right here, what I've written in red, take a look at this right here. Okay, you were missing a middle term with the x variable. Go back to this, you have an exponent of 2, then it completely skips and goes to there is no exponent, there is no variable. That's not perfect descending order. You have to represent every single term. So you were given 3x squared. You have to input, fill in this plus sign and a 0x, and then finish it out with the plus 6 because that's what they gave you right there. By you putting a plus 0x into the polynomial, you're not actually changing the polynomial at all. But when you do long division, every single term in perfect descending order must be represented, or else the problem will not work out. Okay? Okay, let's do some example problems. Here we go. All right, so here is our polynomial. Here is our binomial. Let's start by writing under. Okay, so there's our box. X squared plus 3x minus 4 goes inside. X minus 1 goes on the outside. All right, you should have your notes right next to you with those 4 important steps. All right, so first step, you take the first part of the polynomial and the first part of the binomial. And I'm going to do this off to the side. And you divide those 2 pieces. And when you divide them, they will give you, for this specific case, just x. All right, because there's a 1 right there. Division with exponents, 2 minus 1 will just give you x. Now, that is the first part of your answer. So let me repeat it in a pretty straightforward, simple way. First divided by first equals the first part of your answer. That's what we did here. First part of the polynomial divided by the first part of the binomial equals the first part of your answer. Okay, that is step 1. Step 2, now you have to multiply the first part of your answer into the binomial that was given to you at the beginning. All right, so that means you distribute and you get x squared minus x. That is step 2. Okay, now what do I do with that step 2 piece? Here's what I do. I write that underneath the polynomial, and I will use subtraction. Okay, now we're moving into step 3 of those 4 steps to solve division with polynomials here. All right, and I'm going to take a little pause there's a little checkpoint. There's something that you've done, and if you've done this, you know so far the problem is working out. This piece right here, notice how this and the first part that was given are the same. If that is the case, if this part right here and this part right here are the same, you're doing the problem correct. That's a checkpoint to let you know things are working the way they should, and you can keep progressing throughout the rest of the problem. If this part and this part are not the same, you've made a mistake. Take a pause, go back, probably need to start over because there's an error somewhere in your problem. And it's good to know that now so that you don't work the whole thing out, making an error early on, and the entire problem is incorrect. So that's a checkpoint to let you know things are working. All right, now subtract. These guys are the same. They will cross each other out. That's good. You want that to happen. Now you have a positive 3x minus a negative. You should pay close attention to the fact that minus a negative is going to become a plus sign, a positive. So that really means that this is going to be a plus. So 3 plus giving us 4x. Then you have to bring down what you have left, minus 4. And now we go through the whole process again. All right, so let's go ahead and look back at those notes. At least I will. You should see everything we did. We are now through all 4 steps. Bring down the next term for the polynomial. Now repeat all those steps again until you either see no remainder or your remainder left. So let's zoom back in and let's finish this out. So repeat the steps, except now this is the brand new first piece. So here's your new first piece. We're going to divide it by still that first piece of the binomial. So that means 4x divided by x, which will just equal 4. Okay, and it's a positive 4. So that means for the answer, we're going to put a plus 4. All right. Now, step 2, we're going to take that new part of the answer, which is a positive 4, and we're going to multiply that into the entire binomial right there. All right. So that means we have 4x minus 1. Distribute, 4x minus 4. That was step 2. Now we move on to step 3. We take this and we're going to bring it right there, and we're going to use subtraction. 4x minus 4, subtraction. How do you know you are doing this correct? Let's go back to that checkpoint because it's still true as you work through the problem. We know we're doing it correct because these first 2 terms are the same. When you're using subtraction, you get to that step in step 3. These first terms need to be the same, and that means you're doing it correct. What do you notice here, though? It's actually completely the same, which in this case means that we're going to get 0 as our remainder. If 0 is your remainder, this is your answer. X plus 4, that's the answer. Okay. All right, that's the first example problem. Let's do the next one. All right, the point of this example problem is we are given a polynomial and a binomial that are both out of order. So we need to rewrite this whole thing, put them in the proper order, then go through and do our division. Okay, so 4x squared plus 8 4x minus 7 divided by 2x plus 5. Notice I had everything out of order. I had to put it back in order, but the signs didn't change. Okay, that's a positive 4x squared, same thing. Positive 8x, same thing. Negative 7, same thing. Positive 2x, same thing. Positive 5, same thing. So the signs never changed, but the order did, because I got to go in perfect descending order all the way across. All right, now let's set it up. Polynomial goes underneath. Binomial goes on the outside. Okay, let's go through our steps. First part of the polynomial divided by the first part of the binomial will equal the first part of our answer. Okay, let's reduce it. That crosses down to a 2. That crosses out. That x is gone. That squared is gone. What's left over? 2x. 2x is left over. So this is the first part of my answer. Okay, now step 2 is taking the first part of your answer and multiplying it into the entire binomial. That's step 2. Distribute 4x squared plus 10x. That's step 2. Step 3 is taking what we just got right here, moving it over, and then we're going to use subtraction. 4x squared plus 10x. Use subtraction. Take a little pause, all right? Hit the pause button. Check that we're doing it correctly. Both of these first terms are identical. They are the same. I'm doing it correctly. I can proceed. All right. These guys are the same. They cross each other out. Then you're looking at 8 minus 10, which will give you a negative 2x. Bring down that piece, and that was step 4. Get your answer and bring down what's left. Now redo everything. Go back through your steps. Take the first part of our next piece, which is negative 2x. Divide it by the first part of the binomial, 2x. Okay, and in this case, you're going to notice it's almost the same except for that negative sign. So it's going to create negative 1. Okay, because the x's are the same, the 2's are the same, but the negative sign didn't disappear. It's still there. So now we need to put minus 1 right there. And we're getting close. Now step 2, we have to take the new part of the answer, which is negative 1, and multiply that into the binomial. Step 2, distribute, distribute, negative 2x minus 5. Okay, step 3, write that underneath, negative 2x minus 5, and subtract. Quick, hit the pause button. Both of these are the same. Negative 2x, negative 2x. You're doing it correctly. All right. Cross them out. They are the same. Notice these are not the same, though. Like the last problem, they were. These are not. So we will have a remainder. Negative 7 minus negative 5 actually makes a negative 2, because that negative and that negative will really turn this into a plus. So think of this as negative 7 plus 5, -2. All right, now let's have a remainder. How does that look when you have a remainder? We're going to say minus 2 over the binomial on the outside. That's how you write remainders when you get them with these polynomials. Take that remainder that we had, which was the -2, bring it up to the top. There's the negative, there's the 2, and write over the binomial on the outside. That's the full answer right there. Okay. All right, last example problem. Let's keep it going here. Here's the final thing that we haven't seen yet. We haven't seen a problem that's both out of order and we're missing pieces. This seems like it goes in order, but we're missing a piece. This is out of order, so we need to rearrange it. So we got to do two things. All right, here's what we're missing. We're missing the middle term for that polynomial. So we're going to write x squared plus 0x. That's the middle term that we were missing. We had to put it in there. Okay, minus 6 divided by x minus 3. Remember, this was out of order, so I had to put the x in front, minus 3 goes in the back. Okay, now it's written in the proper order. You'll notice, didn't have a middle term, we had to make a middle term. Now we can go perfectly descending order. Let's work the problem out here. Okay. All right, x squared, 0x minus 6, x minus 3. Okay, let's go through our steps. We'll go a teeny bit faster. I'm sure if you want to see it slower, go back, check out 1 and 2, but these steps are all the same. All right, remember those steps, repetition. Okay, first part divided by first part equals the first part of your answer. First part of the answer distributed into the binomial gives me the piece I need to move into step 3, subtraction. Quick timeout. Both of these are x squared. They're the same thing. I'm doing it the right way. They cross out using subtraction. 0 minus a -3. Pay attention. Minus a negative really means it's a positive. 3x drops down. Minus 6 drops down. Repeat your steps again. New first part divided by binomial first part equals the now new part of my answer. Okay. Kind of running out of space here. New part of the answer multiplied into the binomial. All right. Write that new part of the answer right there. Step 3 says subtract. Quick pause. Both are 3x. We're doing it the right way. Okay. Cross it out, cross it out. -6 minus a -9. Think of this as -6 now plus 9. Because of those negative signs, it's going to be 3, positive 3. So then our remainder being a positive 3 means we're going to say plus 3 over x minus 3, which is the binomial. And there's our answer right there. Okay, let's zoom out. There's everything you need for these example problems from section 4, part 2. All right, bring your questions to class and make sure that you pay close attention. See you guys in the next one.